Hey guys, Anthony Beckham here. Welcome to the channel where real estate is life. So yes, you did read that title correctly. We have hit a major goal, and honestly, I just wanted to say goodbye because I think it's about time I retire now. Thanks for everything. Nah, I'm just kidding, guys. I am here to stay, but the truth is we did over 100,000 in commissions in 1 month. Now, that is something that I never believed possible. I mean, we made $100,000 in commissions my very first year, and even that was crazy. So to think of how far we've come and the fact that we made 100,000 in 1 month is just crazy. So I'm gonna tell you exactly how I've built the business to where it is and how you can do the same. So I'm gonna let you in on a little secret of how I made $100,000 in commissions in 1 month. I liked this video and I subscribed to the Real Estate is Life channel. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait and let you do that now. Okay, really, so to start, August was my best month in real estate ever. $101,350 and some change in commissions, 13 deals closed that totaled $3.28 million in production. So I'm gonna start with what does my team look like to be able to handle this amount of production. I'm still a very active broker. I still play a very active role within my team. It's myself, I have 2 admin staff, receptionists, they also make calls out to my database, and then I have an operations manager, which actually happens to be my principal broker as well, and he handles all of the transaction management. I just recently hired a buyer's agent, but all of this production was actually my own, just between my own clients on both the buying side and the listing side. Before this, I think we'd had a good few $60,000 months, which that is kind of like the baseline goal that we were really aiming for this year. We've also had a couple $80,000 months before we hit this, and then we hit it that $100,000 month, and we're actually gonna do somewhere in the 90-something thousand, I think, again this month. So if we can get up to 100,000 a month every month, that would be the goal so that we can say that we produce $1 million a year. We're still gonna come up a little bit short of that this year, but hopefully seeing what we've done this year to produce 100,000 in multiple months of 2020, we'll be able to duplicate that for 2021 and going forward. And let's keep in mind that we did all this with a very small overhead. Now, of course, there's myself, 1 admin staff and their salary. Caitlin is my other admin staff, and she's also my girlfriend. And then of course, my principal broker, transaction manager, he gets paid out of escrow, so there is no overhead there either. Being such a small team and having 20, 30 plus deals in escrow at all times, honestly is a lot for us to handle with doing this amount of volume. With our systems and processes, we found a way to, be able to keep up this kind of production. However, we are all worked quite hard to be able to produce at that level. So you may be asking yourself, how much did we have to spend to produce 100,000 in commissions? Our overhead expenses were totaling right around $6,000 at that time. So that's gonna include $3,000 for Zillow and Facebook ads, just our regular advertising. The rest was our lease, our CRM, Mojo, our website, and various other software and programs, as well as videography and that sort of thing. But this doesn't include any of our variable expenses, like paper or ink or things like that. With all of our recurring expenses being around 6,000 and us generating 100,000 in commissions, that's like a 16x return on our marketing efforts, as well as just our expenses to run the company. But of course, we have to remember that a lot of the closings that we had for that month may have been from efforts before. So now I'm gonna break down exactly where each of these clients came from. 4 closings were from Zillow, 3 were past clients, 2 were for sale by owners, 2 were from cold calls, 1 client referral, and 1 sign call. So as you can see, these leads came from everywhere, and some of these leads I had been working with for months or maybe even a year plus. Many of these clients that had done business in that month, we may have been following up with for an extended period of time. And I think that's one of the secrets that we really need to talk about today, and how we were able to produce 100,000 in commissions comes back to a lot of our follow-up and systems that we follow. So whenever we get a lead, we put them into our CRM, which is Perfect Storm, which we talked about earlier, and we put on follow-up campaigns, which are basically reminders to give these people a call on, a certain time frame basis, depending on their motivation and how soon they want to buy. So one client may get a call every week, maybe bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or once a year, depending on how serious of a buyer or seller we think they are and how motivated they are and what's appropriate as far as a cadence of reaching out to them. Some of these leads, some of these clients had been in our database for years, and looking back, I saw that there was actually one that I had called 15 plus times before they had decided to list with us. Some of these closings are a long time coming. I remember that particular client, which was one of the first sale by owners that we closed in that month, I had literally been talking to for over a year. I had called them more than 15 times, and I remember even being nervous each time I called because I had already talked to them so much about everything that I felt like we ran out of things to talk about. But that's what it takes. Sometimes it takes that kind of follow-up and building that kind of relationship to get these consistent deals. You have to be okay with making those calls every day and being consistent about it. It can take years to actualize a sale, but this is a long-term business, and that's just truly what it takes to be able to do this kind of volume and make this kind of money. If we look at the breakdown of where this business came from, you can see that 4 closings were with Zillow. Now, these are online leads. Not everybody feels that Zillow and Trulia are profitable, and I believe that it's not profitable for a lot of people. The reason why it's profitable for us is exactly that reason that I talked about. We're consistent with our follow-up. So if you're one of those people who gets a Zillow lead and calls them once and finds out that they aren't ready to buy, or they accidentally pressed the button and never talks to them again, of course you're not gonna make the sale even though you paid for that lead. Now, on our team, we continue to call those people. If they say that they're not planning on buying or selling, we're still gonna call them in 6 months. We're still gonna call them in a year, because things change. And a lot of times they change a lot quicker than what people think. You have to keep the mindset of every lead could be a potential commission check, and every lead could potentially need your help. So if you're ever sitting in the office and feel like you don't have anything to do, you're wrong. If you have leads, there's always something to do. You should always be talking to people, because that's how you do business. You build relationships by talking to people, which eventually lead to sales, which then leads to past clients. As you can see, 3 of our closings that month were from past clients. I follow up with my past clients personally every quarter. Now, sometimes that's gonna be a Christmas card or a birthday card or a text on their birthday. Sometimes it's just gonna be a call to see how they're doing, how they're enjoying the house, what's new in their lives, and just treating them like a friend. Something that we're doing this year for Thanksgiving is inviting everybody in to pick up a free pie, which then gives you that face-to-face. And again, it's just another way of following up, staying front of mind, and building that relationship with your past clients. Your past clients are either gonna do repeat business with you, or they're gonna give you referrals, which are gonna turn into more sales. Even if you don't do any advertising and you just stayed in contact with your past clients, your business should grow year over year. Say that your marketing efforts bring in about 10 sales a year. So that first year you would do 10 sales. The second year you would do 10 sales. But if you're staying in touch with those first 10 people, maybe you get 1 referral each from them within a year, which is not unrealistic. So that second year you actually do 20 sales, even though you're paying the same amount for marketing. Then let's say that third year, you still get your 10 new clients from marketing, but you have 20 past clients that each give you a referral. That third year, you should be able to do 30 deals, 10 from your marketing, plus maybe 1 referral from each past client for that third year. And so you can see how your business has this compounding effect. So as long as you're staying in touch with your past clients, you can see how your business would continue to naturally grow. Even though I've only been in business for 4 years, 3 of my sales that month were from past clients, repeat business. And we also got 1 referral closed that month from a past client that referred business to us, kind of demonstrating exactly how that buildup works that I was just explaining. On top of your online marketing, you know, our Zillow leads, staying in touch with your past clients, we also still do a lot of outbound prospect. Remember, like I said, you don't really have downtime in real estate, because whenever you have downtime, that just means that you should be prospecting, and you should probably be prospecting for a couple hours a day and working that into your routine. In this $100,000 commission month, we had 2 closings that came from for sale by owners and another 2 closings that came from cold calls. Really, all 4 of those closings are us cold calling people that we don't know, but the 2 cold calls are actually more absentee owners. What we did is we got a list from the title company of all absentee owners in our county, and I had one of my staff literally just cold call them on the triple line dialer through Mojo. The script for our cold calls to those absentee owners goes something like this. Hi, I'm looking for John. Hey John, my name's Anthony. Sorry this call's a little bit out of the blue, but I was actually calling about a property I believe you own over here on 123 Main Street. Have you thought about selling that property, or is that something that you'd consider? That script works really well because not only do I own the real estate sales team, but I also own a real estate investment company. If they've thought about selling, I can at least go out there, tell them the value, give them maybe my cash offer if that's more of what they're looking for. But most of the time they want retail for it. So of course we aren't able to buy it as an investment, and we get the listing. I've actually got a lot of my listing appointments this way. If you look at the breakdown from this month, we actually double-ended a deal that totaled about $1 million in production, and we got the full 6% commission. That means we represented both the buyer and the seller, and we actually got this listing from that exact cold call script. So I think that that is the proof in the pudding right there, that that script works well, and it contributed to almost 1/3 of the $100,000 in commissions that we made in the month of August. I really like that script because not only do I own the real estate sales team, but I also own an investment company. So if it looks like the property is distressed or it's going more that route and they just want an offer or they just want to see how much it's worth, then we do have that option. Most of the time, whenever I go out to the property, we find out that of course they want retail. You know, if they're not in distress, not going into foreclosure, you know, the house doesn't need work, then we're gonna tell them they shouldn't accept an offer from an investor. They're gonna make a lot more money on the market. And of course, that leads to listings. The for sale by owner closings are also, of course, cold calls, but those are a little bit different. Usually I would call and ask the for sale by owner if they're willing to work with an agent on the buyer side, and then I ask if I can preview the home. When I go to preview the property, I actually bring a packet of information that I feel would be helpful to the seller. This is gonna have seller disclosures in it, maybe some comparable sales to kind of give them an idea of how much other properties in the area are selling for, as well as a blank real estate contract that they can use if they come up with a buyer themselves. By helping the seller before you guys are ever doing business, I've even gotten referrals from for sale by owners that we've never done business with, because not only are we following up with them every week, but they remember us as being helpful and they appreciate all the help that we've given them thus far and checking in on them even though we're not even doing business together. When you've already helped them out by giving them that packet of information, you're staying in touch with them every week and seeing how you can help. I even let them borrow my open house signs. When you're doing all of those things, they're gonna be that much more likely to think of you if they're having a hard time selling the property on their own and think about going with a real estate agent. Just think, who would you go with if you had some guy that was calling you every week, had already helped you? If you ran into trouble and couldn't sell the property yourself, you're probably gonna call the guy that's been so helpful all along the way. This gets my foot in the door, and even if I don't have a buyer for their home, oftentimes I'll find one because it's nice to have that FSBO listing in your back pocket if you have a buyer that comes up, especially in this competitive market that can't find anything. There for a while, when I was really implementing the strategy, it wasn't uncommon for me to sell 1 or 2 houses a month that were actually for sale by owner, and I was just representing the buyer, which if I'm getting a 3% commission, I don't mind because that's what we would have gotten anyway. So it's actually a pretty cool strategy. Now, what makes the for sale by owner strategy really worth your while is that a lot of for sale by owners can't sell the property on their own. So if you're using the follow-up sequence I was talking about, obviously a for sale by owner is probably pretty motivated if they're trying to sell their property. I would actually call for sale by owners once a week. The conversation would usually go something like, oh, how's everything going? How are the showings? Is the property still available? Is there anything I can do to help? Because Zillow leads and online leads are typically buyer-based leads, doing the for sale by owner and the cold calling really helped me get into listing properties. I have one listing right now that's someone that I had been following up with for years that came through an open house, like my very first year in real estate, and I have her home pending. So now the neighbor actually called us and they're gonna be listing their home with us too. So that kind of proves how listings can turn into more listings. And last but not least, you can see that one of our closings came from a sign call. Basically, anytime that phone rings, I have my team trained, and what I always did was I would try to convert them into a lead and I would try to help them as much as possible. A lot of people go wrong is, even with a Zillow lead, they get too focused on the property. Say that you get a call and someone asks about 123 Main Street, but 123 Main Street's pending. Well, if you just tell them, oh, sorry, that one's pending, well, maybe they just wanna hop off the phone and they say, oh, thanks, bye. You just missed out on an opportunity. Whenever I get that call and they say they're interested in 123 Main Street, but 123 Main Street pending, I'm gonna ask them, okay, well, what exactly is it that you're looking for? What's the minimum bedrooms, bathrooms? What about this property interested you? Are you looking in this neighborhood? So you gather that information, and the more information you have about what a buyer is looking for, the better you can assist them going forward. Now that you've spent 5 minutes figuring out exactly what this buyer is looking for and figuring out how you can help them, it makes it pretty easy to pivot the conversation and say, okay, well, now that I know what you're looking for, where is the best place to send those opportunities when they come up? I recommend using that exact wording. That wording works very perfect for me, and I think out of the thousands of leads that I've handled, I've only had 1 or 2 that didn't want to give me their email address. If you've properly built rapport and you found out what they're looking for, and you come across as someone who just wants to help and send them opportunities, remember to use that word, they have no reason not to give you their email address, and then that gives you a reason to stay in touch with them. Depending on where they're at in the process, you can judge whether they get a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly call from you. So to sum it all up, I think that gives you a pretty good idea about how we are converting so many of these leads and doing so much production with a relatively small team. Some teams might need less people, some might need more, but overall, my goal is to continue to do this amount of production and more with me having less and less daily involvement with the team, where not only do I have, just a high paying job, but more of a business that pays me with less involvement. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to follow us on the journey of a real estate millionaire. So thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one, and I will see you later.
It's a wrap.